The night sky over New York City was serene, a deceptive calm before the storm. Without warning, a blinding light engulfed Central Park, and dozens of children vanished into thin air. Captain Alex Mercer, a seasoned naval officer, sat bolt upright at his desk, his heart pounding. The emergency alert blared through his quarters. His daughter, Emily, was at a school camping trip in Central Park. He grabbed his uniform and bolted out of his room, his mind racing. In the command center of the United Earth Defense Force, UEDF, the atmosphere was electric with urgency. Lieutenant Sarah Connor, Mercer's tactical genius, stood before a holographic map, her sharp eyes scanning for any trace of the abductors. Dr. Raj Patel, an expert in alien technology, was already at work analyzing the energy signatures from the abduction. "Mercer, we've got a situation," Connor said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "The children are gone. We're picking up alien energy readings, Xerathians." Mercer's blood ran cold. The Xerathians were a technologically advanced race known for their ruthless conquests. His thoughts went to Emily. "What do they want with our children?" Dr. Patel looked up from his console. "It's possible they believe the children are the key to controlling Earth's future. We need to act fast." Mercer took a deep breath, steadying himself. "Mobilize the fleet. We're not letting them think they can take our children and get away with it." As the UEDF fleet prepared for launch, Sergeant Luis Ortega, a seasoned soldier with a personal vendetta against the Xerathians, approached Mercer. "Sir, I'm ready to go. They took my brother years ago. I won't let them do it again." Mercer placed a hand on Ortega's shoulder. "We're bringing them back, Luis. All of them." The fleet launched, heading into uncharted space with determination and resolve. The vastness of the cosmos stretched before them. The bridge was a hive of activity, with Connor coordinating the fleet's movements and Patel monitoring the alien signals. Entering Xerathian territory in 5 minutes, Connor announced, "Prepare for potential engagement." The tension on the bridge was palpable. Mercer stared at the view screen, his mind on Emily and the other children. He knew the Xerathians would be expecting a disorganized response, but they were about to learn how far humanity would go to protect their own. "Captain," Patel called out, "we're picking up an immense fleet just beyond the asteroid belt. It's a trap." Mercer clenched his fists. "We're not turning back. Prepare for battle." "Connor, I need a plan." Connor's mind raced. "We'll use the asteroid belt for cover, make it look like we're retreating, then flank them. It's risky, but it might give us the edge." Mercer nodded. "Do it. Everyone, prepare for evasive maneuvers." As the UEDF fleet entered the asteroid belt, the Xerathian warships closed in. The asteroids provided some cover, but the enemy was relentless. Laser fire illuminated the darkness of space, creating a deadly light show. "Steady, everyone," Mercer commanded. "Wait for the signal." Connor's voice cut through the tension. "Now, execute the flanking maneuver." The UEDF ships burst from the asteroid field, catching the Xerathians off guard. The sudden assault threw the alien fleet into disarray, and the humans pressed their advantage. Mercer's ship led the charge, cutting through the enemy lines. The Xerathian stronghold loomed ahead, a massive fortress bristling with defenses. "We're coming for you," Mercer muttered under his breath. The fleet regrouped, battered but determined. As they approached the stronghold, sensors picked up the location of the abducted children deep within the fortress. The battle was far from over, but they had a chance. "Captain," Connor said, her voice tense, "we've found them. They're inside that fortress." The UEDF fleet emerged from hyperspace, only to find themselves surrounded by an imposing array of Xerathian warships. The sheer size and number of the enemy vessels cast ominous shadows across the void of space. Alarms blared throughout the flagship, the UADF resolute as its crew scrambled to action stations. Captain Alex Mercer stood at the bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic display of the battlefield. The situation was dire, but retreat was not an option. "All hands, prepare for combat," he ordered, his voice a steady anchor amid the chaos. Lieutenant Sarah Connor quickly assessed the tactical display. "They've got us boxed in, Captain. If we don't move now, we'll be sitting ducks." "Suggestions?" Mercer asked, his mind racing for a way out. Connor's eyes narrowed as she studied the enemy formation. We're outgunned, but not outsmarted. We can use a feint retreat to draw them in, then hit them from the flanks. Mercer nodded, trusting her instincts. Make it happen. All ships, prepare for evasive maneuvers on my mark. As the UADF fleet began to maneuver, the Xarathians opened fire. Laser beams and plasma bolts streaked across the void, shaking the Resolute with each impact. The crew worked with practiced precision, maintaining their focus under the relentless assault. Steady, everyone, Mercer called out, his voice cutting through the tension. Execute the feint now. The fleet began a controlled retreat, drawing the Xarathian ships into a tighter formation. Just as the enemy believed they had the upper hand, the UEDF ships swung around, launching a coordinated attack on the Xarathian flanks. Sergeant Luis Ortega, manning one of the gun turrets, gritted his teeth as he fired on the enemy. Let's see how they like a taste of their own medicine, he muttered, his shots finding their mark and causing explosions to ripple through the Xarathian ranks. On the bridge, Dr. Raj Patel monitored the energy signatures. Their shields are weakening, Captain. We're making progress. Mercer's eyes flickered with determination. Press the advantage. We need to break through and reach that stronghold. The battle raged on, each side taking heavy losses. The UEDF fleet fought with a fierce determination, their maneuvers precise and deadly. As the Xarathians scrambled to regroup, Mercer saw their chance. Connor, initiate Phase 2. We're breaking through their lines, Mercer commanded. Connor relayed the orders, her voice calm and authoritative. The UEDF ships surged forward, their weapons blazing. The Xarathian formation began to falter under the relentless assault. Suddenly, the Resolute shuddered violently as it took a direct hit. Alarms wailed, and the lights flickered. Damage report, Mercer barked. Shields are down to 30%, a technician reported. Hull breach on decks 3 and 4. Mercer clenched his jaw. Get those shields back up and seal the breaches. We're not done yet. As the UEDF fleet pushed forward, the Xarathians began to retreat towards their stronghold, the massive fortress looming ahead. The enemy's resolve was wavering, but the battle was far from over. Connor's voice broke the tension. Captain, we're picking up a transmission. It's coming from the stronghold. They're taunting us. Mercer's eyes hardened. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and a cold, alien voice filled the room. Humans, your efforts are futile. Your children are already beyond your reach. Turn back now or face annihilation. Mercer's grip tightened on the console. We're not turning back, he replied, his voice steady. Prepare for the final assault. We're getting our children back. The crew's resolve hardened, each member ready to fight to the last. As the UADF fleet regrouped and prepared to breach the Xarathian defenses, the tension was palpable. The next few moments would determine the fate of their mission. Captain, Connor said, her voice tense, we're entering the stronghold's outer perimeter. All systems ready. The UEDF fleet had breached the outer perimeter of the Xarathian stronghold, navigating through a storm of enemy fire and automated defenses. Captain Alex Mercer stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his eyes locked on the colossal fortress ahead. This was their chance. They had to seize it. Prepare the infiltration team, Mercer ordered, his voice unwavering. We're going in. Lieutenant Sarah Connor, already suited up for the mission, nodded. I'll lead the ground team, Captain. We'll bring those kids home. Dr. Raj Patel, also in tactical gear, checked his equipment. I've modified our scanners to detect the alien tech. We should be able to locate the children quickly. Sergeant Luis Ortega, his face a mask of grim determination, loaded his weapon. Let's make this count. The infiltration team, disguised as a debris field, launched from the Resolute and maneuvered through the Xarathian defenses. They landed on the fortress's surface with a silent thud, cloaked from enemy sensors. Move out, Connor whispered, leading the team through a narrow maintenance hatch. The corridors inside the stronghold were dimly lit, the air thick with an unfamiliar metallic scent. They advanced cautiously, every step measured. Dr. Patel activated his modified scanner. This way, he indicated, pointing down a passage lined with alien symbols. As they navigated deeper into the fortress, tension mounted. Every corner could hide a patrol, every sound a potential threat. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, and the walls seemed to pulse with energy. "What's that?" Ortega muttered, his grip tightening on his rifle. "Energy conduits," Patel explained. "They're routing power to something big." Connor held up a hand, signaling for silence. Ahead, they heard the unmistakable sound of alien voices. The team pressed against the wall, listening intently. "They're discussing the children," Connor whispered. "We need to move now." They slipped past the guards, their movements synchronized and silent. As they approached the central chamber, the tension was palpable. The door before them was massive, adorned with intricate patterns and guarded by two Zarathian soldiers. Ortega signaled to Connor. "I'll take the one on the left." Connor nodded. In a swift, coordinated strike, they neutralized the guards and accessed the chamber. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing a large, dimly lit room filled with containment pods. "There they are," Patel breathed, his eyes scanning the rows of pods. Mercer stepped forward, his heart pounding as he spotted Emily in one of the pods. "Get them out," he commanded, his voice a mix of relief and urgency. Patel worked quickly, his fingers flying over the alien console. One by one, the pods began to open, the children emerging groggily but unharmed. Emily stumbled out, her eyes widening as she saw her father. "Dad!" Mercer scooped her into his arms, his heart swelling with relief. "It's okay, sweetheart. We're getting you out of here." The reunion was cut short by a blaring alarm. "We've been detected," Connor said, her voice tense. "We need to move, now." The team hurriedly gathered the children, guiding them back through the fortress. The corridors that had been silent were now alive with activity, the sound of alien troops closing in. "We're not going to make it to the extraction point," Patel said, his voice edged with worry. Mercer's mind raced. "There has to be another way. Find us an alternate route." Connor scanned the area, her tactical mind working overtime. There, an access tunnel. It leads to the surface. The team altered their course, ducking into the tunnel just as the Zarathian soldiers rounded the corner. The narrow passage was dark and claustrophobic, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind them. As they emerged onto the surface, the stronghold's defenses came to life, automated turrets tracking their every move. "We're sitting ducks out here," Ortega shouted over the noise. "Patel, call in the fleet," Mercer ordered. "We need extraction now." Patel activated his comm device. "Resolute, this is Patel. We need immediate extraction at Sector 7. The team took cover as best they could. The children huddled close. The sound of approaching ships filled the air, and Mercer's heart pounded in his chest. They were so close. The Resolute's shuttle swooped down, its guns blazing to clear a path. "Go, go, go!" Connor yelled, her voice cutting through the chaos. The shuttle rocked violently as it ascended, the Zarathian warship's beam grazing its hull. Inside, Captain Alex Mercer clung to his daughter, Emily, his mind racing. The children, their faces pale with fear, huddled together as Lieutenant Sarah Connor and Sergeant Louis Ortega manned the guns, firing back at the pursuing enemies. Evasive maneuvers. Mercer shouted to the pilot. "We can't let them hit us again." Dr. Raj Patel, seated at a console, frantically tried to stabilize the shuttle systems. "Shields are at critical levels, Captain. We need to outrun them." Connor's voice cut through the tension. "We've got incoming fighters." "Hold on." The shuttle twisted and turned, dodging enemy fire. The Resolute's fighters swooped in, engaging the Zarathians in a chaotic dogfight. The air was thick with the smell of burning circuits and the acrid tang of fear. "We're almost there," the pilot called out. "Just a little longer." As the shuttle broke through the enemy lines, a massive Zarathian warship loomed ahead, blocking their path. Mercer's heart sank. They were running out of options. "We need to punch through," Connor said, determination hardening her features. "Raj, can you overload the engines for a burst of speed?" Patel nodded, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's risky, but it might work." Everyone brace yourselves. The shuttle surged forward, engines roaring with an intensity that rattled the entire craft. The Xerathian warship fired, but the shuttle's sudden acceleration threw off their aim. They hurtled past the enemy ship, the Resolute coming into view. "We're clear," the pilot shouted, relief evident in his voice. "Docking now." As the shuttle docked with the Resolute, the children were quickly ushered to safety. Mercer felt a weight lift off his shoulders as he watched Emily being taken care of by medical staff. But there was no time to rest. "Captain, the Xerathians are regrouping," Connor reported, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "They're preparing for a full-scale assault." Mercer turned to his crew, his voice firm. "We've got what we came for, but the fight's not over. We need to buy time for our fleet to retreat. Sarah, coordinate with the other ships. Raj, see if you can disrupt their communications. Lewis, get those guns ready." Ortega grinned, a fierce light in his eyes. Time to give them a taste of their own medicine. The Resolute's cannons roared to life, firing at the approaching Xerathian fleet. Explosions lit up the void, shaking the ship with each impact. The UEDF fleet fought valiantly, their unity and determination shining through the chaos. "We're holding them off, but we can't sustain this for long," Connor said, her voice tense. "We need an exit strategy." Mercer's mind raced. "Patel, can you create a diversion? Something big enough to buy us a window?" Patel nodded. "I can overload the ship's reactor, create an EMP burst. It'll knock out their systems, but it'll leave us vulnerable." Mercer made his decision. "Do it. Everyone, prepare for the burst. Once it hits, we make a run for it." The countdown began, each second ticking away with agonizing slowness. As the reactor reached critical mass, a blinding flash enveloped the battlefield. The Xerathian ships flickered and went dark, their systems temporarily disabled. "Now!" Mercer shouted. "Full speed ahead." The Resolute and the remaining UEDF ships surged forward, leaving the disabled Xerathian fleet in their wake. The tension on the bridge slowly eased as they put distance between themselves and the enemy. "We did it," Connor said, a smile breaking through her stern exterior. "We actually did it."